another episode of Brandon's Comedy Bombshell. I'm your host, Brandon Phillips, and today I have a hilarious friend of mine. You've seen her on Superior Donuts, you've seen her on Fox, Hulu, ABC. You guys please give it up for Kennelia Stradwick. Here she goes. Here she goes.
Bye.
Hey.
Wait, do you have a haircut?
You know what? I ain't gonna lie to you. I did go see the man.
You know, that's fine.
I did.
That's fine.
Right. No, but you know what? I cut. So I've been cutting my own hair. So this was I've been doing it, but I needed to go to him to get a full, template, and then I can continue on.
I understand. I just thought, hey, if I'm raggedy, then we're all raggedy.
Everybody needs to be. If I'm
clearly that's not the case.
Now listen, this ain't shit.
I forgive you. It's fine. I hijacked your show to talk about your haircut, and I'm sorry.
Listen, there's certain tricks of the trade that you gain when you come up in the hood. One of those is learning how to cut your own hair, because you can't afford a haircut.
Haircutting and roller skating. If you from the hood, you can roller skate and you can do hair.
Exactly. Period. So, boom. Yo, thank you for coming on the show, girl. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Oh man. So look, I don't want to take up too much of your time. So, we can hop right into it. So let's just get going. First and foremost, let's just talk about this. Where are you from?
I am from Flint, Michigan.
Flint, Michigan.
Yeah. I haven't lived there now in many, many years.
Okay.
Many years, but I still have family there, and I'm from Flint, Michigan.
Okay, cool. And how long have you been in LA for?
I've been in California for 10 years. I went to Sacramento for 1.
Okay.
So 9 LA, 1 Sacramento.
Got you. Okay, cool. All right. And how long have you been doing stand-up for?
I've been doing stand-up comedy. It's been 10 years. So maybe a couple of days after I got into LA, I started stand-up.
Oh, wow.
May be at the most a week.
Wow. And did you always know stand-up was did you always know it was something you wanted to get into, or you were just like, you know what, I'm gonna just do this?
Yeah. I was always funny. I did not realize I was funny until I was voted class clown. I didn't know that I was class clown until that was what happened. Then I was like, oh, wow, I'm a clown?
Wow.
Right. I had no clue. And I would watch stand-up specials as a child, and I would think, oh, I'm going to do that one day. But I never put it together. I never was like, okay, I'm going to actively be a stand-up comedian. I would just always watch and be like, oh, I'm going to do it. So long story short, I had a high school boyfriend when I was living in New York from 2005 to 2010. Maybe 2009, one day we randomly talked. We were on the phone, and he said, so when are you going to start doing stand-up? And I was like, oh, I'm going to start.
Right. You're like, all right, cool.
I was like, cool. And because before I was doing improv and taking acting classes, so I was still kind of trying to be an entertainer while being regular.
Comedy, yeah. Okay.
So then I saved up my money and I moved to LA for stand-up comedy.
Wow. Which is different for the average, I feel like, route, because you're in the mecca of comedy and in terms of New York. So to I'm gonna leave and start it. I mean, they're both, really strong, areas in terms of stand-up, but just two different ways of going about it. But they say that New York that's the grind, New York.
It is. And it never dawned on me when I was there. That never even connected. When I was thinking about comedy, entertainer, I was like, okay, I'm going to do stand-up comedy, but I always also want to be an actress.
Wow.
So I'll do that in LA. I can do both. Not even realizing, hey, you can do it here too, in New York.
Right.
I just was like, oh, I need to move to LA.
I need to be in Hollywood. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. And I moved to LA.
And you did. You came out and did it. Okay. Wow, that's so crazy. I never knew. I never knew.
I never. Yeah.
Wow, that's so dope. Okay, so tell me about your most memorable time bombing on stage.
So I've bombed a many of time, and it's never been a horrid bomb.
Right.
You know, some people, I heard stories. Somebody got the crowd member stood up and the crowd turned their back on the comedian.
Yeah.
Now that
Yeah. There's epic.
hasn't happened. Epic bombs. So for me, the worst was maybe it couldn't even have been more than 2 years ago. I was at the Comedy Union. So the Comedy Union is one of, you know what? Besides the J Spot, it's the only Black club in
This
LA.
spot is done. So
J Spot is closed, but you know the J Spot open back up every like 2 months.
every
So
yeah.
it's closed for now.
Right.
It's closed for now. They always find a way. But
Right.
now it's the only Black club in LA. So I remember it was raining real bad in LA. You know, buildings and infrastructure in LA can't really handle the rain.
No.
You can't handle the rain. And then on that same block as the Comedy Union, apparently they were knocking down buildings, so the electricity was already unstable. So the rainstorm, I was at the Comedy Union supposed to perform, and it knocked the power on the whole block out.
Oh shit.
Mind you, we about to go on. Show about to start. So Ans was like, we just gonna keep going. Y'all, this is what y'all do. Y'all perform. We're gonna keep going.
Because
So I'm
people paid already. They didn't pay for the show.
Sitting down, the chicken baskets and the mac and cheese already getting dropped on the table. Like show's starting.
And how many people were in the crowd in the crowd at this time?
Oh, it was full house. It was packed. It was full house. Packed. Friday night. It was a Friday night. It was a Friday. And so I'm looking out, you know, I peek out at the Comedy Union. There is a green room, and then there's a walkway to get to make your way to the stage. So I'm peeking out that little corner, like, So they like, who want to go first? I'm looking like, not to me. Because you remember, the power's out, so there are no lights, there's no microphone. There is just the stage and you. Now, there were like Ends had like these big lights, kind of big spotlights. So they brought these lights out. Brought these lights out. So there was some form of lighting, but no microphone. So I get on. So somebody went before me, and he did a really good job. It was basically like spoken word, because that's what you're doing with, like, it's just improv. There's no mic. You're doing it. It turns into spoken word. Right. I hate spoken word. So I'm looking at this like, great. That's not my personality. My style of stand-up comedy ain't big. It's not big. Right. So in order to pull this off, I'm thinking like, oh shoot, I'm like, I don't know what I'm about to do. I get on stage when it was my turn. And you know, the host, when you hold a good host, you make the crowd think the next comic about to get up and murder. So the host like, she fun, coming, hilarious. She do her thing, about to kill it. Like, he giving me this big ass intro, and I'm like, listen, I'm about to straight eat doo-doo. Okay? I'm gonna eat doo-doo. I already know it. So I get up on stage and I start to try to do the set that I had prepared. Now, the set that I had prepared, it wasn't basically a spoken word style improv set. So midway, like, I'm like thinking like this, like do I just abandon my material? Like, what do I do? Right. And this lady in the front looking dead at me, she was like staring at me. She looked at me, she said something like, sis, we just want to laugh. I was like, and at that point, I'm already angry. Oh, God. And the thing about me, I'm pleasant and I'm nice, but I don't handle back talk very well. Right. And I was like, well, here we go. Let's do it. Like, we about to get it. Gloves off. Gloves off. Like, no more jokes at this point because you said something like you're mean, and now I have to be mean too, even though that's not what you're supposed to do. She said that, and I don't remember exactly what I said to trigger her next response. I said something like, "Oh, really? Like, you want to laugh?" It was like, I forget what I said exactly. She said, "Yeah, tell some jokes."
Oh.
And I said, and I shouldn't even done it. I said, "I'm looking at the joke, sis." At this point, comedy's over, you know? Like, once you go down that path,
It's a wrap.
set's over. Okay? Wrap it up, ma'am. Kennelia, and that's my time. Leave this day. So I maybe stayed up there for like 3 more minutes. The crowd was upset. The arms started crossing. You know, once the arms get folded, people they just can't think. Everybody arms unfolded up, face balled up.
Oh.
I carted my ass off that stage and went into the green room. And that was it. And after the show, I said to the ends, I said something like, "Man, I really ate it." And I told him what I said. He was like, "Yeah, you really ate it, huh?" And then that was it. That was probably the worst recent bomb that I can remember.
Wow. That is of the stories I've heard with the power going out, because like you said, we use the microphone, we use the stool as like that's all we have. Otherwise, you sitting up there, you just like, "All right, y'all, so how everybody do?" Like there's no.
And some people could do it because the comic before me, he did a really good job.
Right.
But I think it matched who he already is. That's his personality.
Right.
He's already a bigger, you could tell he the type of comic that be at the cookout telling jokes at the cookout.
Right. He's always.
I'm not telling jokes at the cookout. Don't ask me for no jokes at the cookout. Like, I'm just, so it was really bad.
So you didn't even, so did you close? Like, did you have a closing joke? Like, you just were like.
Oh, set was gone. Set was gone. Because the jokes that I have a closer, but that wouldn't have worked because they didn't, at the time, you couldn't do regular material. Right. You had to literally, to win that stage, I probably would have had to tell an old story that was, I probably would have to talk about getting beat up in high school. There was no way I could have told my material in one. Not my material.
Oh God. Ooh, that's rough, bro.
It was rough.
Rough. Oof.
Then I walked off stage in the dark, still with by flashlight, like walk back to the green room in the dark, set in the dark.
It's just quiet because ain't no music to get you off, to bring you up, nothing. It's just the few claps. Oh,
and this is the kicker. So it's bad when the host got to go back up on stage and be like,
and address that shit.
Yes. He said something like, "Y'all not gonna be disrespecting my comics when they come on stage. Don't do that."
Oh shit.
It was bad.
Oh my God. Yo. Wow. Yo, that's an epic story right there. I'm not gonna.
It's bad.
That's that's a good one right there.
But I survived.
You did. You did survive. So after this bomb, how long did it take for you to get back up on the horse, like to hit a stage after that?
I had a show the next day.
Okay.
So luckily, and it was a totally different crowd, totally different venue, but it took me a while to go back to the comedy union because I was like, I can't show my face after this. I lost control. Like, that's some little amateur stuff. When you get to the point where you forget all the jokes and you like about to just go at one of the audience members.
Right.
So I was like, I can't show my face. Like, I can't. So I literally didn't come back to the comedy union for maybe it was months. Like, I was like, oh, I can't go back in there.
Right.
I can't.
He's calling you up like, "Hey, so listen, give you a spot."
No, because he probably knew, like, yeah, she ate it.
Yeah.
Come back when you're ready.
You
You know it.
to recovery. Oh my God.
Yeah, like,
But it's good
take
that
all
you
the
did
time you need.
get back up though. That's good. At least that you got back up, you know, in terms of another stage or whatever. Sometimes, you know, you'd be like, oh, I needed to take a little minute to recover. Sometimes different comedians, you know what I'm saying, different strokes. So
You know, but listen, if as much with comedy, you never know how it's gonna go every night. As you progress in your career, you kind of know, like, I'm not gonna bomb. You know, you're gonna at least do decent, and to an extent, you know when you're gonna do well. But if we had to take major pauses in general after every time we bombed, then half of us would have quit eternally.
true. Very
You know,
true.
like it's just that's just the game.
Yeah.
That's just how you learn.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Wow, that's so dope. Kennelia, thank you so much for coming on the show and telling your story. That is hilarious. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Before we get out of here, I always just end with a couple of questions. So first question is, what important comic lesson would you give your younger self if you could go back in time?
Oh, what important comic lesson would I give my younger self? Hang out even when you don't feel like it. And be specific with where you are hanging out.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about comedy and stand-up is there's that theory that in order to get further along, you got to really hang out in these clubs. And that's true. Yeah. That's true, especially early in your career. But with me, I was spread so thin with hosting and acting and stand-up. I couldn't hang out as much as I needed to.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a hindrance in a way as far as getting booked more. So I would tell my younger self, definitely, even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't want to, hang out at these comedy clubs.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I completely agree. The other thing, one more question is, if you had to leave a final piece of advice for the next generation of comedians coming in, what would that be? I know it's probably piggybacking on what you just said, but.
Piece of advice for the next generation of comedians. Oh, wow. You know what? I would say Black women comedians will always be we're always clutch. We're always going to be good, and we're always overlooked in some ways. But I would say for the next generation, don't let that be you. Wow. Don't let your generation be the generation that once again is like, we don't know no Black women comedians. You don't know any because you don't look and you're not paying attention.
That part.
You know, there's a lot of funny, wonderful Black women comedians out here who we hear that same line over and over and over again. And it's just something, it seems it's just a passed down mentality. So for the next generation, I will honestly say, don't let it be you, because you're literally going to get left behind.
That's dope. Wow, that's dope. Thank you, Kennelia. Thank you. Which a lot of them Black comedians, females, you will see on the show. So gotta support my sisters. Kennelia, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Before we get out of here, if you want to just drop your social media, let people know where they can find you and anything you got coming up you want to share.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for having me, Brandon. I really appreciate it. You guys can find me across the board on social media at Kennelia. That's like Kenny and Ophelia, Kennelia. And when we get back on stage, hopefully you can check me out there.
There you go. Boom. Kennelia, thank you so much, God. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye.